Next up is poet John Holgerson in a reading of his original work.
And our next poet is John Holgerson.
Thank you, Jennifer. Like Miriam and Mark, this room has some memories for me as well. But before I forget, once again, just as I did at the Black Lantern and at the wine bar yesterday, I do want to commend the hometown poet laureates, Jennifer in particular, for organizing this event. And also all of the venues that have lent their space and time to support it. This room has some memories for me as well. There used to be an event held for a number of years here called Visual Inverse. And Visual Inverse was an event where 24 poets were invited to come into the gallery when the art gallery was having an exhibit, select a painting, a photograph, a drawing, to write a poem about. And then a month or two later, there would be a reading. And the portraits or whatever you had selected to write a poem about would be on a slide, on a screen behind you or to your side as you read the poem. I was privileged on more than one occasion to be one of those 24 poets. And what I want to do tonight is read a poem that I read at the Visual Inverse in 2016. It is part of my latest collection of poetry called Convictions of the Heart. And I don't have a slide or a screen to show it on, but I do have a copy that I can hold up, hopefully, so you all can see it while I read the poem. I would say this about this particular painting. When I came on the selection day, I walked around the gallery, must have been 25 times, looking for just the right portrait. And this portrait was on that back wall, go over to the right a little, and I would come back to it time and time and time again, until finally, because I'm not the brightest bulb in the room, I realized that my own personal poetry muse was telling me, you idiot, this is the portrait that you should select. So I did select it. It's called Upon Seeing the Portrait of a Young Woman. Who are you to hold me here with an over-the-shoulder glance in this stylish tabernacle of sketched and painted visions where art asks poetry to dance? When your winter comes and the crows of time tramp around the corners of your eyes, this face will be the same, youth's presumed immortality affirmed and age itself disguised. And when the snow is deep and you are warm before the fire, wrapped by love poems in some old book, remember the hearts of gold a silent beauty stole with a single mesmeric look. I was not beguiled by how brush, oil, and canvas wed, till I saw your face by chance. Who are you to hold me here with this over-the-shoulder glance? I'm only reading two poems tonight, and the second poem comes from my first book, which was published in 2012, called Broken Borders. And I'm holding up the cover primarily because it's a portion of a painting of Don Quixote that I got permission to put on the cover of the book. And the reason I wanted to show it to you is because the poem I'm going to read is about Don Quixote. Because we all know Don Quixote is that old guy who was riding a swayback horse, but he knew it was really an Arabian stallion. He knew that the laborer that worked for him, Sancho Panza, was really his squire because he was a knight errant. He knew that the windmills were really giants. He knew that the town's local prostitute was really Dulcinea, a princess that needed to be rescued. And no matter how often Sancho Panza tried to convince Don Quixote that these were all illusions, they weren't true, this wasn't reality, Don Quixote would not listen. He would not give up what he believed to be his noble pursuit of beauty and the truth and right and fairness. Here's a spoiler alert for those of you who haven't read the novel. At the end of the novel, on his deathbed, Don Quixote suddenly sits up because he realizes that his whole life has been based on a delusion and a hallucination, and it's not real. So he cries out and he dies. But I've often thought, what about an alternative ending? How about if he actually listened to Sancho Panza on one of those occasions? And he realized that, I think the guy's got a point. That really is a windmill. But what would his reaction have been? So this is a poem, which is really a soliloquy said by Don Quixote, who has come to the realization that the life that he thought he was living, the truth he thought he was fighting for, was really not real. I have to ask you to stretch your imaginations a little bit. As I said, it is a soliloquy. I need you to imagine me as an old man with white hair and a wrinkled face. So I need you to, I am confident that all of you here can achieve that goal. The poem is called Don Quixote, After Therapy. I'm broken and I'm bitter by the heart's forced retreat, the fundamental loss incurred with age love's defeat. I knelt whenever beauty passed, laid down my heavy lance, arose a better man each time, encouraged by her glance. I fought and died for beauty, not knowing I was unarmed. She never promised anything, never said I'd go unharmed. I'm bitter and I'm broken by age love's defeat, the fundamental loss incurred with the heart's forced retreat. I don't recognize that image in the hallway mirror, the gray and wrinkled flesh inside this phony armor. The glacial cold of loneliness freezes me on crowded streets, where deformed and crippled hearts still pause, yet never care to meet. They've taken down the road signs that mark the narrow ways I wandered for a lifetime within this twisted maze. I'm broken and I'm bitter by the heart's forced retreat, the fundamental loss incurred with aged love's defeat. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe button before you go. We'll see you next time.